All right, so today we're going to be taking a deep dive into AI in insurance.
Okay.
I know it doesn't exactly sound like the most thrilling topic,
Right.
but trust me on this one. This is going to be way more interesting than trying to figure out your insurance deductible.
Yeah.
We're looking at this article from the DX Today blog. It's called Unleashing the Power of AI, Transforming Insurance Operations. And AI is already seriously changing how insurance works.
Oh, it really is. And what's so interesting is how it's impacting the core of it all, the nuts and bolts of the business.
Right.
Streamlining all these processes, making things so much faster and more accurate.
Yeah.
Think about data entry or even claims processing.
Ugh, claims processing.
No, right?
Don't even get me started.
Prime candidates for automation.
Oh, tell me about it.
Oh.
I once waited months for a super simple fender bender claim to go through.
Oh, wow.
If AI could speed that up, that would be a total game changer.
Yeah, totally. And that's exactly what the article highlights. AI can actually analyze damage just from photos and determine payouts automatically.
Really?
Yeah. So instead of months, you're looking at days, maybe even hours to settle a claim.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That also makes me wonder, what happens to all the people who do those jobs right now?
Yeah, it's a natural question.
Yeah.
But the way to think about it isn't AI replacing people, but changing their roles.
Well, okay.
The article really emphasizes that insurance professionals are going to have to adapt,
Right.
learn new skills so they can work effectively alongside AI.
So it's more like AI is kind of taking over all the tedious stuff so humans can focus on, the more complex and strategic parts of the job.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
It's like in manufacturing, think about robots doing those really repetitive tasks, and then you have the human workers managing the process.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's really about job evolution more than job losses.
Yeah, for sure.
And who knows, maybe AI and insurance is going to lead to entirely new jobs that we haven't even thought of yet.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of switching gears a little bit. Let's talk about AI in risk assessment and fraud detection.
Okay.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
It's like AI is this super sleuth
That is a great analogy.
working behind the scenes.
So you've got AI looking through huge amounts of data,
Right.
spotting patterns and anomalies that humans would probably miss.
Totally.
The article actually talks about some insurance companies using AI to detect fraudulent claims.
Oh, wow.
Let's say someone stages an accident to try to get a payout from their insurance.
Okay.
AI can cross-reference that claim with the data from weather reports,
Right.
traffic cameras,
Oh, wow.
even social media posts.
They're
Yeah, to find inconsistencies and potentially expose the fraud.
so it's like a digital detective basically piecing together clues and catching the bad guys.
Exactly. And this ability to analyze so much data, it has huge implications for how insurance companies assess risk.
Okay.
AI can figure out who's high risk way more accurately, which means they can adjust policies and premiums accordingly.
Hold on. Adjust policies? Does that mean we're talking about personalized insurance plans?
You got it.
Wow.
Imagine a world where your insurance policy isn't just based on your age or your zip code,
Right.
but it's actually based on your specific behavior and circumstances.
So instead of everyone being lumped into the same category, I could get a policy specifically designed for my needs and risk profile.
Exactly. AI algorithms can look at your driving habits, your health data, even your lifestyle choices to come up with a truly personalized policy.
That's amazing. It also makes me think about what are the downsides?
Sure.
I mean, are we giving all this personal information to these AI systems?
You're raising a valid point for sure.
Yeah, what about data privacy?
Data privacy and security, they're absolutely critical when we're talking about AI and insurance.
Yeah.
We need strong safeguards in place to prevent misuse or, data breaches.
And how do we make sure that the AI itself is fair and unbiased? We don't want it to perpetuate existing inequalities.
Absolutely. The AI systems have to be trained on really diverse and representative data sets.
Right.
That way they don't accidentally discriminate against certain groups of people.
So it sounds like AI has this potential to revolutionize insurance in some really positive ways.
Yeah,
But we also need to be really careful about how we implement it.
absolutely. We need to strike that balance between innovation and, responsible use.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it seems like the future of insurance is going to be heavily influenced by AI no matter what.
There's no doubt about it. It's already transforming the industry.
Yeah.
And we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
And it's not just insurance, right?
Nope.
This is happening everywhere.
Exactly.
Healthcare, finance, transportation. It's like AI is everywhere.
It really is this deep dive into insurance It's almost like a window into this much larger transformation that's happening across society.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about how AI is like really shaking things up for the insurance companies.
Right.
But what does it all mean for the rest of us? The people who are actually buying the insurance.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. How does this impact you and me when we're shopping for car insurance or home insurance or even life insurance?
Well, I mean, on the one hand, we talked about like faster claims processing and personalized policies.
Mm-hmm.
Those sound pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe AI could even help bring down premiums, if it gets better at assessing risk.
Yeah, those are definitely some potential benefits. Like, imagine getting an insurance quote that's actually tailored to your specific situation,
Oh, right.
not just based on, generic stuff like your age or where you live.
Yeah. But then there's like the other side of the coin, all the data privacy concerns and potential bias in the algorithms.
Yeah.
Those aren't exactly small issues.
No, they're definitely not. And it's something we really need to keep an eye on as AI gets more and more embedded in the insurance industry.
Yeah.
It's all about finding that balance,
Right.
harnessing the power of AI while also making sure it's used ethically and responsibly.
It's a lot to think about. And it's not just insurance, right?
Right.
Like, we're seeing AI popping up everywhere these days.
Yeah, this deep dive into insurance, it's like a microcosm of what's happening across so many industries.
Right.
Healthcare, finance, transportation, they're all being transformed by AI in different ways.
Which actually brings up a really interesting point. The article we're looking at, it mentions AI predicting future risks.
Yes.
This is where things start to feel a little sci-fi to me.
It definitely is a mind-bending concept. Like, what if AI can actually analyze your data and predict how likely you are to get sick or, have an accident or even how long you're going to live?
Right.
That totally changes how we think about insurance.
Yeah, it's almost like insurance becomes less about protecting against the unknown.
Right.
And more about like managing the inevitable.
Exactly.
Like, what if an algorithm can predict that I'm going to need knee surgery in 5 years? Does that change how my health insurance premiums are calculated?
That's one of the huge questions that this raises.
Right.
It could even get to a point where insurance companies are like hesitant to cover people who are considered high risk by AI.
Wow.
And then we have to think about the ethical and social implications of that.
Yeah, definitely. It's not just about AI making things more efficient. It's like potentially reshaping the whole system.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, like, what happens to the concept of shared risk, which has always been like the foundation of insurance.
Right.
Does it become everyone for themselves if AI can predict individual outcomes so accurately?
That's a big question.
It is.
And probably one that doesn't have an easy answer.
Yeah.
But it's something we need to start thinking about now, before these technologies get even more advanced.
I completely agree. We need to be having these conversations
Yeah.
involving policymakers, ethicists, the public, everyone,
Yeah.
to make sure that AI is used in a way that actually benefits everyone, not just, a select few.
All right, so let's go back to this idea of AI predicting risk for a second.
Yeah.
Just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
What if it gets so good that insurance becomes, like, pointless?
Mm.
Like, if AI knows exactly what's going to happen, why even bother with insurance anymore?
That's an interesting thought experiment.
Yeah.
I mean, if AI could achieve perfect prediction,
Yeah.
then, yeah, in theory, you wouldn't need insurance.
Right.
But the thing is, we live in a really complex world with, millions of variables.
Right, yeah.
AI can be super powerful, but I don't think it will ever be 100% accurate.
So there's always going to be that element of uncertainty, things that AI just can't predict.
Exactly. And that's where human judgment still comes in.
Right.
Even with like the most sophisticated AI, we still need humans to interpret the data,
Right.
make decisions based on the specific context and individual circumstances.
This is making me think about another big question, and maybe this is getting a little too philosophical, but if AI can predict our future more and more accurately, does that mean we have less free will?
Wow, now you're really getting into the deep end of the pool.
I know, right?
This is a question philosophers have been debating for centuries.
Right.
And AI just adds this whole other layer of complexity.
It does. Like, if an algorithm says, I'm statistically more likely to get into a car accident because of my driving habits or like my genetic predisposition, does that mean I'm destined to crash? Or can I choose to be a more cautious driver and like defy the prediction?
It's such a fascinating question.
Yeah.
It really challenges how we think about free will and determinism and like what it means to be human in this data-driven world.
Totally. And I think it underscores how important it is to not just like blindly accept what AI tells us.
Right.
We have to question it, understand its limitations,
Yeah.
and ultimately remember that we still have the power to make our own choices.
Couldn't agree more. We can't let AI run our lives or dictate our futures. We need to be active participants in shaping how these technologies are developed and used.
Well, I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about.
I think so.
We started with AI and insurance and ended up talking about free will.
It's been quite the journey.
It really has.
But that's what I love about exploring these topics. You never know where they're going to lead you.
All right, before we wrap things up, I have one more question for you.
Okay, shoot.
If AI is already having such a huge impact, like what can we actually expect to see in the future?
That's the big question, isn't it? It's hard to say for sure, but one thing's certain.
Okay.
AI is going to keep evolving at an incredibly fast pace.
So what might that look like in the world of insurance?
Well, we can probably expect to see even more sophisticated algorithms, even more personalized policies, and even more automation in things like claims processing and risk assessment.
And what about the potential downsides? What should we be keeping an eye on as these technologies keep advancing?
It's really important to stay focused on things like data privacy,
Right.
algorithmic bias.
Yeah. And the potential for these technologies to be misused.
Right.
We have to make sure that AI is used in a way that benefits society as a whole,
Yeah.
not just a select few.
So it's a balancing act.
It is.
Embracing the potential of AI
Yeah.
while also being really mindful of the risks.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a conversation that everyone needs to be a part of.
Right.
From policymakers to the tech people developing it to everyday citizens.
Well said. I think this deep dive has really given us a lot to think about.
Me too.
It's clear that AI is going to have a huge impact on the insurance industry and on our lives in general.
Absolutely. And it's an exciting time to be alive, even though it's a little daunting too.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today, but before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
We've talked about how AI is like changing the whole insurance landscape,
Right.
but it's also forcing us to ask some really big questions about ourselves and the world we live in.
Yeah, that's a really important point. AI isn't just a technological innovation.
It's a social and philosophical one, too.
Exactly.
Right.
It's making us rethink all these assumptions about work and privacy and fairness and even the nature of human existence.
Yeah. It's a journey of discovery, and we're all on it together.
Well said. All right, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into AI and insurance.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure. And to our listeners, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going. The future of AI is in our hands. It's kind of wild how we started talking about faster claims and personalized policies. And now we're like deep in these existential questions about free will and what it even means to be human in the age of AI.
I know, it really shows you how much there is to unpack when you start exploring a topic. AI and insurance might seem simple on the surface, but it connects to all these deeper issues that affect every single one of us.
Totally. And I think that's why this whole conversation is so important. We can't just treat AI like it's this abstract concept or a tool that's only relevant for like tech companies.
Right.
This is about how we want to live our lives,
Right.
how we shape our future, and how we make sure technology is serving us and not the other way around.
I couldn't agree more. This isn't just about technology. It's about values and ethics and the kind of society we're building.
Okay, so where do we go from here? We've explored the potential benefits and the risks. We've touched on some pretty deep philosophical questions, but what can our listeners actually do to engage with this topic and make a difference?
That's the question, isn't it? It can feel overwhelming, but there are definitely things we can all do.
Okay.
First and foremost, stay informed.
Okay.
Read articles, listen to podcasts like this one, follow the experts in the field.
Right.
And talk about AI with your friends, your family, your colleagues.
Yeah, knowledge is power.
Right.
The more we understand about AI, how it works, what it can do, what it can't do, the better equipped we'll be to navigate all this rapid change.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask questions, challenge assumptions, and demand transparency from the companies and institutions that are developing and using these systems.
That's a great point.
Okay.
We can't just sit back and passively accept whatever AI throws at us.
Right.
We need to be active participants in shaping its development and making sure it's used in a way that aligns with our values.
Absolutely. We need to hold policymakers accountable, push for regulations that protect our privacy and ensure fairness, and advocate for responsible, ethical use of AI in all areas of our lives.
And I think it's important to remember that this isn't just about, experts and policymakers. This affects all of us.
Yeah.
We all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI.
Absolutely. We need diverse perspectives, critical thinking, open dialogue, all of it to make sure AI is used for good and benefits all of society.
Well said. I think this deep dive has given all of us a lot to think about.
It really has.
AI is a powerful force, there's no doubt about that. And it's up to us to harness that power responsibly and create a future where technology empowers us, not diminishes us.
I couldn't have said it better myself. It's a conversation that needs to continue if we want to ensure a positive and equitable future for everyone.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into AI in insurance and its implications for society.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going because the future of AI is in our hands.